Hey guys, Anthony Jones here with the Top Gun Jumbo, and this video is about how I did my LED navigation light install on the front end of my Jumbo to bass boat conversion. Guys, this video is going to be a little bit different from the content that I put out in the past. In this video, we're going to go back and take a look at an install that I did prior to me starting my YouTube channel. So this video is more of a how I did it, not necessarily a how-to step-by-step, but hopefully I can translate the information across properly and you guys can take something away from it. So any feedback on this video would be much appreciated as I try this new format, and if it works out, I'll touch on some other aspects of the boat that I did before I started my channel, and we'll take it from there. If you want to see more images of the boat, go on over to Instagram and follow me there at @ADubJones. Again, that's at @ADubJones. And then on here on YouTube, if you would kindly subscribe to my channel, man, I'd really appreciate the support as I continue to grow and continue to put out more content of my projects on the Top Gun Jumbo. Guys, obviously we're on my back deck. We are not in the garage. Trust me, you'd rather be out here than in there. I'm going to show you what's going on in the garage in a second. It is a whole other animal before I can get everything set up in there to really get back into building this boat. But your patience would be much appreciated. May your Jumbo's builds be great. And let's go take a look at the boat. Before we get started real quick, I wanted to make an announcement. I hate to be that guy, but I'm going to go ahead and be that guy for about 1 minute. I've entered a partnership with a really awesome company called Gunning & Scales. Gunning & Scales specializes in outdoor apparel. They make some really awesome dry fit SPF shirts like this one. They make super soft, I mean, softest shirts you've ever wore. T-shirts, they got hats, they've got decals, they've got the Chasing Fatties decal, the jig head. I'm a fan of the OG logo. But all their artwork is done in-house by a guy that I actually know. He's an awesome guy, and he does all the artwork. He literally sits down and paints this stuff and does all of his own designs, man. It's really awesome. Kind of like how I sat down and painted my Jumbo. But they've got the Chasing Fatties. They've got this one too. Recognize that boat? But y'all check them out. They're on Instagram. That's Gunning & Scales. And they are also on Facebook. So check them out, show them some love. They're supporting me in my build, my journey. And I just want to share that real quick. So y'all give them a shout. Okay guys, just a little insight, little day in the life of what has been going on since we moved into the new house a few weeks ago. The past couple weeks. The new garage that's going to eventually be my workshop where I will build projects and work on boats. This is what it is right now. This is what we're working with. This area just became an area where when we moved into the house, anything that didn't need to go in the house just kind of got stuffed in here. I can't find anything, and I know this is total tiny boat abuse, but my boat is now a workbench, apparently. And since we've had so many projects going on in the house when we moved in, I've just been coming through here and just digging through boxes, trying to find tools, just literally just digging through stuff and throwing stuff everywhere. I've got stuff everywhere. So right now I look like instead of Tiny Boat Garage, this is an episode of Hoarders. But eventually, can't even walk out of here without breaking my neck. Eventually, I'm going to get this all cleaned up, and that whole back area will be my workstation. And we're going to have some projects pumped up out of here. But we got to get to that point. So maybe on an upcoming weekend, I could start digging into this. But anyhow, I just want to show you that. But what we're doing is I'm going to clean this thing off, and I'm going to get it out in the driveway, an area where I could actually walk around it. And we're going to look at these beautiful LED navigation lights that I've mounted, and I'm going to go over how I did it. I did it a little bit differently, as you can see, the recessed stainless screws and how I routed my wiring through the boat. I'm going to go over it all as best as I can. Let's get to it. Okay, gentlemen, this is kind of what you're going to need. This is what I used. Again, I'm going to explain as best as I can without making a 30-minute video this time. So obviously drill bit kit, some kind of a bit set to screw your screws in, and these are the screws that I'm using. It's a number 6 1/2-inch stainless steel, and you'll notice that they've got the pan Phillips on the packaging, and they've got that rounded head that instead of a flat head. So that's what I'm using in a tape measure, pencil, whatnot. And then of course, I've used this a lot in the build. This is not a substitute for like the 3M marine adhesive. This is a Gorilla Glue construction adhesive, and I've used this a lot in the boat. It's a multi-purpose, heavy-duty construction glue. Just gonna warn you guys, it's like $8 a tube, but I really enjoy using this, not only for my boat build, but also for things I've done on my house build. So I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna implement that. Again, not a substitute for marine glue, but in this application, I think it's gonna work just fine. Haven't had any issues yet. So here we go. All right, so let's talk about these lights. These lights are, I'm very impressed with the quality. I haven't really used them, but as far as what I've seen, I like what I see. They are good quality. They are some very thick, I don't know if you could see that, the thickness, thick coated rubber, plastic, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if you see that side profile. See how thick that is? So real happy. They look to be very heavy duty. Okay, I've got them mounted with stainless steel screws that I showed you, and also the Gorilla Glue construction adhesive. They are not going anywhere. I'm gonna put a link in my description of where I got these lights from on Amazon, so you can get the exact same lights if you're interested. Just want to throw out there, I'm not a professional when it comes to wiring, not a professional when it comes to boat building. This is just a real serious hobby of mine that when I have spare time, this is what I like to do. And just trying to document it to maybe help some people out. So now that I've said that, I'm going to show you how I did this. Again, more than one way to do it, but I'm going to document how I did it and try to translate that info over. So the first thing I did was I measured my front end and kind of figured out exactly where I wanted the lights. I decided I wanted them centered, but nothing on this thing is square. So I ended up using my tape and I measured everything out and kind of came out to be right at 3.5 inches, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, right at 3.5, just shy there. And looks to be kind of close here too. Nothing square. I measured everything out. It's all different measurements. There's 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch variances. So you're just gonna have to split the difference. It's not gonna be perfect, but you could kind of see right here the tick mark that I made in pencil. There's one there, and there's one there. So I measured 3.5 out, made a tick mark. And once I got that measurement and figured out that with the measurement of the light that I would have 3.5 over here and 3.5 over there and 3.5 here and 3.5 over there, and it would be dead center. Then I made my tick mark. And let me show you what I did on the inside to make this install a little bit differently. Did I just say differently? Is that even a word? What I did to make this install different. So this is 3/8 plywood, and I say that because I've said in my other videos 1/4 inch, and I actually measured it. It was 11/32. I'm sorry, guys. So from here on out, 3/8 plywood is what almost everything in my boat is, not 1/4 inch. 3/8. Sorry for any confusion. 3/8 plywood. It's a lip system, guys. Okay, so what this does is not only does it look kind of cool and kind of tacky, carbon fiber look, but it enables me to hide my wires up front, and it also enables me to drill holes on the front end of the boat and screw those lights through the hole, and those screws hit this lip system instead of just screwing into the boat and having exposed screws come through the side. So that's kind of what this is all about. So what I did was I took some 3/8 plywood, I sanded it, okay, I filled in any imperfections with Bondo. All right, and then I painted an oil-based paint to waterproof it, and then I wrapped it in beautiful 3M carbon fiber vinyl, the realest look you can get. Don't do the cheap stuff, do the real stuff. You won't regret it, and it looks cool. And I can't even tell if the lighting's picking it up very well, because it's almost high noon out here in the country, and dude, I'm baking like a chicken. And so anyhow, I've got a lot of glare on my phone. I can't even really tell what I'm filming. So hopefully this works out okay for you guys. But I did that lip system. And once I had everything measured out and I had the system built, I didn't install it until I got the lights in. Okay, so I measured out where I wanted my lights. All right, marked that out. And then I very, very carefully, off of the boat, took my lights and very carefully through the rubber. Do not hit any of the connections. All right, through the rubber, I drilled a pilot hole right there. And over here, I drilled a pilot hole. Now I probably used something about this size. All right, I'm not gonna get technical. All right, whatever your screw size is that you're gonna use, I used the number 6 1/2 inch. Whatever your screw size is, use something smaller. You know, so a 5/64. Maybe even start with a 1/16 if you're going through the rubber and the metal of the boat, and then just work your way up. I typically like my pilot holes to be just smaller than my screws. And when you go through this side of this boat, if it's too small and you try to screw your screw in, it won't go. That's been my experience. So drill bit set, start small, go big. And then, so once I drilled my pilot holes through my rubber off the boat, then I temporarily held the lights up into place to my tick mark, and then I made a mark through the rubber onto the boat. All right, so I basically copied that mark over to my boat hole, and then I drilled my pilot hole through the middle of the boat. Okay, now that I've done that, I increased my bit size until I got it to just short of my screw size, if that makes any sense. All right, with my light, it came with some 3M backing. I don't know if it's legit real 3M or it's some made in Indonesia off-brand 3M. I didn't want to trust it. A lot of guys said that these lights fall off their boat, and you got to do a real good cleaning with rubbing alcohol and, you know, whatever else. And I didn't want to deal with that. That's why I wanted to do the screws. All right, it is risky business. Again, you don't want to hit anything in here. It'll mess the whole light up. So be very careful when you do this. But what I did was I took the paper backing off of the light, and then, all right, once I got the paper backing off, I took my Gorilla construction adhesive, and just a very fine amount, guys. I'm not talking about smothering it in glue. All right, a little bit goes a long way. I ran one tiny bead of glue down the back side, okay, down the back side of that light. I stuck it in place, all right, with that glue, and then I ran my screw through my pre-drilled holes, all right, and I held my lip system in place with some glue, with some of this construction adhesive on the back side of my wood lip. I held it in place, and I held it in place, and I screwed through. It hit the wood, and it held it in place, and everything set up and dried, and happy ending, right? So that's essentially how I did it. I glued these in place. All right, I glued these in place. I drilled holes and I screwed it through. My screw, my 1/2 inch screw, hits into my 3/8 plywood and goes through the hull of the boat. And everything is tight and secure. And that's it. I don't know if I skipped anything. So that's all the stuff you're gonna need. That's how I did it. I know the format of this video is a little different, not a step-by-step. More about me talking about how I did it. I just about busted my tail trying to sit down in this cooler. But that's it. So man, I don't really have anything else to tell you. I'm real happy with the install. Oh yeah, I do actually. Right here on the very side, I drilled a little tiny hole, real tight. And right there, same deal. You can barely see it. And that's where my wire goes through. So I ran it to where both my wires would meet in the center. They both go through, they connect, they route underneath, they go to the back of the boat. They come out back here somewhere in this rat's nest. One day I'll do a wiring video if I ever get to it. You guys know my personal situation, just moved into the house, had a son. Life has been busy. Boat has been on the back burner. But the nav lights up front will tie in right here to this rear mount pole light. So I intend to have this light and my nav lights up front wired to the same switch. Hit the switch, front lights come on, power will be live on this, and I could plug it in, plug my pole light in, and I'll be out on the water safe at night. So that is it, guys. I'm going to show you what these bad boys look like at night, and we'll call it a wrap. Okay, guys, that's it. This is what she looks like at night. I've got her all lit up. I've got my rear pole light on. I've got my undermount LED lights lit up inside the boat. And I've got my front nav lights lit up. This camera really doesn't do any of my LED lights justice. Everything's kind of showing up a little bit blurry, a little bit foggy. Believe me when I say they look a lot better in person. They are very bright. Again, very happy with the quality thus far. I'll let you guys know if I'm not happy with them at some point. But right now, happy with them, happy how they look lit up, happy with how they actually look as a product. They don't look like something that's just going to fall apart. They look a little bit more heavy duty, as I showed you earlier in the video. So I'm going to put a link in the description of this video so you can pick these lights up if you're interested. Also, I just wanted to disclose that I do not know if I am if these are Coast Guard approved. There was much debate on the item description. Some people said they were fine, some people said they weren't. They didn't have a Coast Guard approved rating on them. So I'm just throwing that out there. For where I'm going down here in these small ponds and whatnot in North Georgia, I'm really not too concerned with anybody messing with me over distance of visibility. Okay, I'm not out on the ocean. Okay, so I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not going to sit here and tell you buy these, they're, you know, and then you get a ticket. I don't know. I'm risking it for the biscuit, so I'm just throwing it out there. You got to do your due diligence with your laws and your research and what you're comfortable with putting on your boat. I like them, great quality. They seem visible enough for me, and for where I'm going, I feel comfortable with using them on my boat. And with that being said, I did post a picture online of the boat with it lit up, and some guys. So before you tell me that I'm riding dirty, I probably am. You could see them from the side. Okay, but I do not think that the degree of angle of visibility from the side is enough per the law or the Coast Guard standards. So I think you need to be able to see it from a little bit further behind. But you could see it from dead side. I'm gonna go with it. I'll let you know if I get a ticket. I think I'm good. Man, I'm only gonna take this boat out, guys, like a couple days a month. And the chances of me actually getting it out on the water at night, probably slim to none. But I wanted to have it just to have it, and I wanted to have it to be safe and do my best at being legal. So there you have it, my friends. Thank you. Again, subscribe, comments. I'm going to make some more videos. If you like this format, let me know if there's anything on the boat I haven't covered, because I already built it before I started my YouTube channel. I know a lot of guys have said framing. Framing is coming. Check out the LED underglow video I did if you haven't. And then there's the rear pole light. But anyhow, that's it, man. I'm gonna get out of here, put this thing back in the garage, call it a night. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned. More content coming. Don't know when, but stay tuned. Thanks, guys.